So we have a lot of leftist individuals who claim that they hate America. America's so bad. We had a lot of individuals before this past election that said, if Trump wins, I'm leaving America. And recently you had a lot of individuals after the Carmelo Anthony case that, mainly black individuals that were talking about leaving America because, racism. So I found this video. It's been making its rounds around the internet. It's going on 300,000 views right now of this individual talking about how living in Africa for black Americans actually sucks. And I think it's quite hilarious. Considering, I think I literally just made a video about black people talking, some black folks, these black leftists talking about moving to Africa. Like, I don't know, a week and a half ago. And now here's this video of this guy talking about how bad it is for black Americans living in Africa. Quite hilarious. Let's check it out.
Now for over 5 years. And in that time, I've seen waves of Americans come, but also go. And normally they're not leaving because they prefer living in America or they just hate living in Africa. Although sometimes that is the case. Typically they're leaving because of challenges that are just too hard to ignore. That's why it's super important that we have an honest conversation about why black Americans just can't seem to stay in Africa. Shalom, my name is No Limit Eddie. I'm an American who moved to Africa at just 21 years old. And I've documented the last 5 years of my travel journey right here on this YouTube channel to make your move to Africa even easier. If that sounds interesting to you, then drop a like on today's video. Let's kick this list off with reason number 1. So recently I met a black American woman who's been living here in Uganda, and she owns some land here and has been hiring locals to help, develop it and build it. She's paying them more than they would earn if they work for other people in the area. She is paying them on time, which is super, super rare here in Uganda. And then number 3, she hires like local women in the area to cook for the employees so that they can eat while they're working. The workers keep stealing from her. They take the tools that she buys and they go to town and sell them. She buys 10 bags of concrete, but somehow only 6 of them end up on a work site. So now she has to watch everyone like a hawk. This brings me on to reason number 1, why many black Americans leave Africa is, they feel like they're at a constant disadvantage. Most Africans that I've met believe that black Americans are a result of white people and African people breeding together. And Mzungu means like white man. They believe it's perfectly acceptable to lie to the Mzungu, to steal from the Mzungu, to mistreat the Mzungu. And the logic they use to justify this or to make it okay is, you have money and I don't. And you see, being an American means you earn dollars, and earning dollars means in eyes of locals, you are rich. Speaking of dollars, if you guys want to know how—
That's hilarious. Because it's the same, it's along the same lines of what a lot of these black leftists feel here in America towards white people. And so they leave America to go to Africa, and then they're treated the same way that they treat white people here. You see why I said this is hilarious? Oh man, that's too good. That is too good right there, man. Too good.
How to continue to make US dollars while you're traveling the world and living abroad. So I highly encourage you to pick up a copy of my book, 14 Ways to Make Your Very First Dollar Online, even if you're dead broke. All right. You can pick up a copy right now by pulling out your phone and scanning the QR code that you're seeing on your TV screen. Okay. Or if you're watching this on your phone or on your PC, go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment. And for some people, being an American in an African country is just not a burden that they want to carry. And so they leave. Now, this next point even has me questioning if I want to stay in Africa. And that is reason number 2. Now imagine your best friend rents out an Airbnb for 2 weeks, and then they call you over and say they need help moving. And so they're having you move all of the owner's furniture into the garage, and they're moving their furniture from the U-Haul into the place. They got you dragging couches up the stairs, right? Then they got you drilling holes in the drywall so they can hang up their family photos on the wall. And on top of that, they're having you repaint the living room to their favorite color. And as you're painting the living room, they say, yo, hold things down really quick. I'm going to go ahead and change my official mailing address to this Airbnb. That way my tax returns and my bank statements come here. You're going to tell your friend, yo, you're crazy. You're wasting your time, your energy, and your money on a place that's not even yours. Well, that's actually exactly what most expats are doing. And that brings me on to reason number 2 why so many Black Americans leave Africa, and that is the lack of stability. Most Black Americans are setting up their long-term lives on tourist visas. You see, a tourist visa, like on the high end, will allow you to stay in the country for about 90 days. But budget travelers have found a bit of a glitch in the system. You see, when you fly out the country for 24 hours and fly back in, well, they're going to issue you a new visa. So what many Black Americans are doing is they spend 90 days in the country, then they fly out for 24 hours, come back in for another 90 days, and by the time you do that 4 times, you spent 12 months in that country. And as they say, the math is mathing, all right? But this is also how many people get caught with their pants down. Remember the example of a friend who booked the Airbnb and they moved all their stuff in and moved the owner stuff out? They may have a plan that's quite similar to where they're like, look, I got the spot for 2 weeks. Don't worry. Before the 2 weeks expire, I'll rebook for another 2 weeks and then rebook for another 2 weeks. It's going to work perfectly. And it might work great for a while, but then one day they check the app and the owner has closed out the booking availability. They had to figure out how to move all their stuff out quickly, how to get a U-Haul, how to move the owner stuff back in, how to repaint the walls, how to fill in the holes, and how to take all their photos down. That scenario of like your plan falling apart has happened so many times. It actually happened to hundreds, if not thousands of people, Black Americans.
Well, first off, doing that to somebody else's property is crazy. Like, you just coming in and just painting stuff however you want to and putting all types of holes in the walls. Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, whatever comes behind that, you earned it.
In Tanzania while I was living there. So then it becomes, well, if you're smart, what you do is you only buy and own things that you can easily fit in your backpack or in your suitcase. And that trade-off means you never really feel comfortable. And many people are just not willing to make that trade-off. And so reason number 2 is bad, but the reason I'm going to share next can make it feel 100 times worse. And that is reason number 3. Now, in Egypt, a country I lived in for over 3 years, I have residency, I have a national ID, I got a motorcycle. I could go back to Egypt right now today and be overly sturdy. But where I am right now in Uganda, I'm doing that whole tourist visa nonsense that I just told you about. Now, why would I leave residency to come deal with the tourist visa nonsense? Enough said. But I really do hate all of that like tourist visa nonsense. And so I decided to have a sit down conversation with a high profile immigration lawyer here in the country. And the biggest takeaway from the meeting is that I qualify for one visa, which is the business visa, and it comes at a cost of $7,500. Now, that same week that, we had the meeting, as I'm thinking through, what do I want to do? We had a 16-hour power outage in my area. So that brings me on to reason number 3 why many Black Americans decide to leave Africa, and that is there are better options. You see, of course, I'm not going to pay $7,500 for a piece of paper that lets me stay in a country that doesn't even provide me with stable electricity. What you end up doing is you look for other options in other countries, and you find that there's way better options. For example, in Paraguay, all I have to do is go there with a birth certificate, go there with a background check from the FBI, and they're going to issue me a 2-year temporary residence permit. And after those 2 years, I get a 3-year residency permit. And after those 3 years, I'm able to apply for citizenship. If you want to get citizenship in Africa, you basically have to figure out how to walk on water, because you need to be doing miracles. And to make things even crazier, is like with these places that are offering you easy residency, easy citizenship, the malls are nicer, the roads are nicer, the quality of life is better. You can fly around the continent of South America for $50, $100 from country to country. The truth is, I'm in a very unique position in life to where I can truly have the world open to me. It doesn't matter if I'm in Africa, if I'm in Asia, if I'm in South America. I can go where I'm going to be treated best, because wherever I have my laptop is where I have my income, right? And so if you're also interested in learning how to create an online business that gives you the freedom to live anywhere you want in the world, go ahead and pick up a copy of my book, 14 Ways to Make Your Very First Dollar Online, even if you're dead broke. Or if you're watching this on your PC or your phone, go ahead and click the link that is in the pinned comment. All right. Now, a huge reason that people move to Africa is that they're expecting to have a reduced cost of living. But the thing is, in Africa, yesterday's price is not always today's price. And that brings me on to reason number 4. So imagine you have a savings account and you check the balance one night before bed and it says $10,000
There's no solutions in life. There's only trade-offs.
in it. Okay, not bad. And then you decide to check it again at the end of the month. You haven't added anything to it, but you also haven't spent anything out of it. So you're expecting it might be just a little bit above 10K because, a little interest payment should have hit. But when you check the account, however, you only see $6,700. Your heart's going to drop. You're going to ask yourself, well, where the heck did all my money go? You see, the Americans over in Ghana didn't have to imagine that scenario because that's practically what happened to them. In April to May of 2025 over in Ghana, the exchange rate completely flipped against those who held US dollars. And so overnight, everything became 30% more expensive. That's why my reason number 4, why many Black Americans leave Africa, is that sometimes Africa gets too expensive. Now, sometimes the exchange rate changing is only a temporary thing, but other times it's permanent and continues to get worse. And so many people have like this false concept that Africa is cheap. And Africa is only cheap if you're going to live like a local. But for those of you guys who are watching this video on your 55-inch TV screen or your brand new iPhone, you're not ready to live like a local. And so Africa will not be cheap for you. You're not ready to not have a hot water heater in your home. You're not ready to take showers with a bucket. You can't stomach eating these same 5 foods in very similar combinations every single day. You're just not.
And yet these leftists will tell you America is absolutely horrible. America's the worst place ever. I'm going to Africa. Okay. All right.
Not cut out for it, and neither am I. And so what happens is, in many cases, when people start seeing their cost of living, the cost of food, the cost of rent rising too quickly, most of the time what they actually do is go to a place where they're able to earn more money. And a lot of times that place happens to be back to the States. And so I get one question a lot, which is like, can I move to Africa on Social Security? Can I move to Africa on fixed income? My answer is always yes and no. Okay. Yes, because my cost of living is less than $1,000 per month, right? But no, in the fact that at any given time, something out of your control, let's just say, for example, the exchange rate can shift. And now where you were living comfortable, you're now extremely uncomfortable because your cost of living has tripled overnight, right? And so it's important that even if you are on a fixed income, you find a way to still generate income just so you have these backup streams, these backup supplies, that can cover you in case of that fluctuation. And by the way, if you want to work one-on-one with me to figure out how you can start an online business, how you can make money online, how you can make money from your phone or from your laptop while you're traveling the world, go ahead and click the very first link that is in this video's description or visit www.nolimiteddy.com/video and watch a 10-minute training I put together for you. And after that, if you like what you hear, you can book in a time to speak with me about the potential of us working together. Reason number 5. I remember everything that I heard about South Africa before I visited. That it was expensive, that it was dangerous, that it's just like America, but in all the wrong ways. And those things kept me from visiting the country for a super long time. But eventually I did go to the country, basically because I was forced to, right? I wanted to go to Kenya, but they ended up having protests at the time. And South Africa was open, it was free, and it just seemed like the next best choice. But when I got out of the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg, South Africa, it was nothing like I expected. Which brings me on to reason number 5, that many Black Americans leave Africa, and it's because it's not what they imagined. Thankfully for me, my time in South Africa was completely different, but for all the right reasons. I actually left that country now ranking it like in my top 2 favorite countries I've ever visited. But many people actually watch videos that talk about an African country, they paint it as if it's all rainbows and sunshines, but when they get to the country, it ends up being a lot of power outages and cow poop. And as a result of that, it's not what they signed up for. It's not what they anticipated. It's not what they wanted. And so they leave, and they leave in a super, super disappointing fashion. And they end up usually painting the whole continent of Africa with a bad lens because they feel as if they were lied to. I just told you about some of the
Yeah. Oh man, I just found that absolutely hilarious to, hear all of that negative stuff right after hearing, all of these black individuals talking about leaving America to go back to Africa because, America's racist and it's so bad and it's terrible and all of this other stuff. And that is what they're walking into. That's exactly what they're walking into. Goodness gracious. You can't make this stuff up, man. But honestly, I almost kind of think, traveling to, one of these other countries overseas should almost be a requirement in college or in high school. And I know that would get real expensive, but I do think it would benefit America in a way that it would benefit all of America, right? Because when people actually get to see how the world genuinely lives, now when they come back to America, there'll be a little more appreciation for America, right? Instead of just always trying to take a crap on it like these leftists always are and talking about how terrible it is. Now they're coming back like, wow, man, this actually is amazing. We have AC here. Over there, they ain't got AC. We have ranch, right? Because apparently that's all the craze with a lot of these World Cup fans is ranch. We have ranch. They didn't have any of that there. I ate basically the same 5 things every day when I was overseas, and over here, man, we got so much variety. So it's so crazy, Over there, people are getting robbed in broad daylight and all types of crazy stuff, and there's nothing the cops can do about it over here. There are some bad places, but it ain't as bad as that. I think it would be really beneficial. I think it would be super, super beneficial to allow folks to experience, and I don't mean the touristy side of, these places. I mean the real deal Holyfield areas where the regular citizens live, right? Because you can go to, I don't know, you name the country, right? And you can go into the nice areas, the tourist spot, the resort, and just kind of stay there or mingle around there, and you'll see a bunch of nice stuff. But when you go into where the actual people of the country live, it's a totally different story, completely different story. And so that's where I think people should have to go, to where the people actually live, not the touristy spaces that are designed, to attract tourists. Nah, go to where the regular people are living in that country, and you let me know what you think about it. But anyway, y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Shout out to No Limit Eddie for that video. Let me throw it back up on the screen there. You can see it right there. Pause it if you need to. No Limit Eddie. All right? But stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.